Make this with the Zgame Editor plugin in FL Studio. Let's make a cool music visualizer with Zgame Editor in FL Studio. First of all, just for convenience, you should split the track you have into separate stems. This is because now we can link each track, say kick, bass, and melodies, directly to the mixer channel so that we can access each of these inside Zgame instead of always having to use the entire master. Now, if you have your actual project up, you can access everything. But for this tutorial, we're using a finalized song that we split up into separate stems. After you split, make sure to add every stem to the mixer. I did this, but just assigning a number directly to the stem in the channel rack. Here, you can hear how drums, bass, and melody are separated. Also pay attention to how the mixer now has each instrument separately. Now, add Zgame to the master channel in the mixer. Click on Pictures to add pictures you want. I used AI to generate some avatar for my song. Click on Videos to add video files or GIF files that I will use as animated backgrounds. Now click on Main again. This is where we make stuff. Let's just start by adding Image. Here we can add our avatar. You can do some tweaks to it here, like colors and stuff, but we are just going to make it round instead of a square. So let's make it a perfect circle. Let's click on the plus icon to add another image, and let's pick an animated background. You can download these all over the internet. It's important to learn early that Zgame Editor has a layering system, which means that the effects you have to the left will be behind effects that you add after. So here it's important that our background is placed to the bottom left and our circle image of our avatar comes after the background. Let's watch again in slow motion how you can just drag your effects around so you can see how I place the background to the beginning. Now you have the base finished. From here, it's all up to you what you want to do. Play around with the effects and see if you find something cool. Here, for example, you have the audio shake. But let's get to the point of this tutorial. Here, we're going to make audio visualizer using U-lean peak shapes, which is a great effect and definitely my favorite. At first, you will see this circle, and it's already reacting to your music. If you take a quick look above the settings of this effect, you can see it says Master. This means the effect will react to the master channel. This is why we split the track into stems, so we now can tell the effect to, for example, only visualize the kick. This effect has a lot of settings to play with, but let's first resize the effect to fit our avatar circle and make the effect a half circle instead of full circle. Increase dynamic fill to max for extra juiciness. Increase the power for a more powerful visualization. Increase band to get a higher resolution visualizer, or lower it if you like the shapes it creates. We're maxing it here. Increase or lower smoothness to your own liking. We are raising it to get a smoother, than rather sharp peaks in the visuals. Tweak the frequency range so that we get all the action inside the half circle, and so we won't get any sharp cut edges at each side of the circle. Now you can just remove line thickness, because we do not need to see the baseline anymore, as we already have the half circle perfectly positioned. Increase saturation and tweak hue. To make colors, let's go with pink. And finally, move the peak effect behind our logo. Let's clone the peak effect we already made. Let's make the effect more awesome by making a black shadow behind it. Now set lightness to max in order to make it black. Then increase power on it and also decay. This will make the black effect stay a little bit longer than the main pink effect. Also, it's important to make sure the black effect is behind the pink effect, so just drag around the effects as needed. But after cloning the effect, we have two identical effects, so basically we just edit the one to the left side, as that effect is now behind the effect we cloned. Also make sure the cloned background effect is also set to visualize Insert 1, which is where we linked our kick stems to in the mixer. Always keep an eye on this, as when you clone an effect, the setting is here seems to reset. Let's do another half circle and place it upside down by tweaking angle. We're going to use Insert 2 on this effect to have it visualize the base. And of course, we're also going to do a black background effect on this one too, basically repeating step 1. And remember the order of your effects. We want our avatar in front of everything. Now we are basically finished. And now you can add effects at the end to make the entire visualization even cooler. There are much more to learn. Stay for even more advanced tweaks. Just for fun, let's turn off the effects I already made and let's make a new one. In Settings, make it flat instead of circle, and let's make it vertical using 3 colors this time. Also, the vertical line will visualize the kick. Looks neat? Now, let's enable the other effects again. And let's remove the bottom half circles, both the colored and the black background one. Now, we take the 2 first effects we made and make them a full circle covering the entire avatar image instead. And have the circle play the bass, while the other vertical one we just made does the kick. Now let's do some real magic. Let's say you want to add effects over your peak effects, like glows or sparkles and stuff, but it will affect everything. Just chill, because I will now show you. There is a buffer button on every effect. When you click it, everything before it will be saved to a buffer that can be opened later. Everything added after that buffer will not affect it. So here, you can see the background disappeared. It's black now. But calm down. It's not gone, it's just hidden, and you will need to bring it back up later. Now, we can add tons of awesome effects to our peak visuals and make them super cool. And the best part is, all effects you added after the peak visuals will not mess up or affect your background. So go wild now with effects. So imagine this order. Background goes to buffer. All peak effects goes to another buffer. Then we add our logo avatar in the end. This means, for example, our peak effects that are buffered, if we add, say, some sparkle effects right after them and click on buffer on the last effect we added to them, all the peaks and the effects added on them are now saved. As you can see here, we also sent all our peak visuals to a buffer by clicking buffer on the last effect we added after our peaks. And this makes it so that we can open up our peaks with the added sparkles and glamour in the end of the line, without the effects affecting anything else in the visualization. Then in the end of the layers, we add new image effects and choose our buffer. It's hard to explain this properly, but what's happening here is that if we send our background to a buffer, then the effects we add to the peak visuals afterwards will not affect the background. So now, in the end, we can just reopen the background and have it not being affected by all the sparks and glitters we added to the peak visuals. And also, by doing the same to the peaks, adding more effects and stuff, and sending all the peaks plus the effects we added to another buffer, we will have a system here that make us customize the entire visualization to an entire new level. Now finish the project by adding some more effects. Effects added after the buffers were reopened will affect everything. If you want it to only affect, let's say, the peak visuals, you will have to drag into the buffer further to the left. I end by adding some stars and tweaking their settings. I also want some fast blur to make the effect seem a bit blurry, like it's lagging. It's a cool effect. I finalize by adding audio shake in the end. But that's all. Hope you make awesome visuals now.